Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Spence.
Hello.
Good morning. And Nick is here.
Hello.
Hello. Gal will probably join us shortly. There he is.
Boy, that was good timing.
Yeah, it was perfect timing.
Just pops up just like that.
He's not completely in there. There he is. Good morning, Gal.
Good morning.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. What a week. It's cold outside.
Yeah, it
Not
was
that cold.
40, 47 here, I think.
It's
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's cold here.
It's 60 here.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
We walked this morning. It wasn't terrible.
It's terrible when I got used to go outside in the morning and sit down and drink my coffee and just sit for a little bit, and you can't do that. I mean, it is cold.
You had to brush the ice off your chair?
It's just not. It's just not. I don't know. I'm ready for spring. Nah, I'm ready for spring.
Ready for spring.
Winter is good.
Got a ways to go.
Yeah, I know.
No, this is the first false fall. We're going to have one more Indian summer.
This is a false fall.
Yeah,
not a real fall.
We'll have
fake
a
fake fall.
Fake fall.
Fake news fall.
Anyway, so what's going on?
Not a whole lot. What about you?
I'm so disappointed. Google confirms Daydream virtual reality is dead. I didn't even know they had it.
Daydream
VR for Android phones. It rolled it out in 2016.
Oh, is that the one that you put the Android phone inside the viewer and?
Yes. Yeah. It's gone. It's dead.
Oh, hold on. Daydream is the
It's just the
screensaver.
It's just the glasses with the lenses that holds the phone. It's a nice looking product. It's got a little remote thing that works with the an Android phone. A cloth look to it, nice strap. But it did die.
It's all right. It's okay. It's all right.
Said there were technology issues with it, with drop frames.
According to Netflix support, an Apple T2 security chip is required to stream Netflix in 4K HDR on a Mac. What that hardware requirement means is that only recent Macs have the ability to play UHD content from Netflix. What about PCs? I mean, did anybody stream 4K from Netflix?
How would you be able to tell on a laptop?
I have no idea. A laptop, a desktop, whatever.
This
I
is
mean-
this is a modern day version of HDCP, and I think Giles talked about this in the past. If you sideload Netflix on certain devices, it will not play in even high definition. It's part of their copy protection, so that people don't build little apps to rip stuff directly off of Netflix. This is, am I correct on that? I'm pretty sure I am.
Yes, it's not necessarily, well, yeah, it's about preventing people the option of ripping HD content. That's right. And it requires, but the T2 chip that they're talking about, I think that's more of an encoding, decoding hardware
It's a
to
security
handle
chip.
the.
I don't know. It's a security chip.
Okay, so yeah, so they they lock their streams in a cryptographic key of some sort, right?
Yeah.
And so they rely on specific technology to secure those keys. And that's why they do not allow any chip maker or any hardware maker to play the HD content. But you're talking about Ultra HD 4K, right? So apparently there's just some additional cryptographic requirements to that.
Yeah, first they're saying 4K HDR, and then they say UHD content. Yeah, but okay. So So what's going to happen with TVs if you bought a 4K TV?
So let's put it this way: if you buy a smart TV,
Yeah,
and that TV is, let's say that TV was $100.
yeah,
60-inch TV for $100, right?
yeah.
Sounds like a steal. You need to double check if HD content, if you're a Netflix subscriber, for example, if you're going to be able to receive HD content. I think.
Now, to be
Yeah,
fair,
it's-
though, that would
Yeah.
only be if you're using the smart TV functionality to stream Netflix, right? If you use an external device like an Apple TV or a
Exactly.
Roku, it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Oh.
So an Apple TV, a Roku, a Shield from NVIDIA, all those support HD content. But even if your TV is a Roku TV, it doesn't necessarily mean that Netflix will work in HD unless unless it's part of, what's approved. I remember they had a page listing the manufacturers that they work with. I'm trying to find it.
So when somebody goes out to Costco, to wherever, to buy a
If you're going to Costco, you have zero problems because Costco works only with like real high-end name brands. Those work.
That's where I go if I want to watch 4K. I just bring a chair with me and I just sit in the Costco, watch their
Yeah.
demo stuff.
The audio isn't that good though.
No, it's
Yeah.
in front of a live audience.
That's it.
No, but that's
You
interesting.
don't even need to bring a chair. You just need to take a chair from the patio area.
That's it. What I do is I roll over one of their like double recliner sofas, just push it over there across the floor and sit down. Pretty good. It's amazing the
Well-
prices, how they've on the really, really big TVs have just plummeted again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have literally no place in my house downstairs where I could put a television that big. The only place I could do it is upstairs in the bonus room. And even then,
Yeah. You need a real big room to put
You
such
do.
a big.
But I got to tell you, I'm really disappointed. You know why?
Uh-oh.
Back in the 90s, they said that, 10 years from now, everybody will have thin TVs on
Yeah.
their walls. We're in 2020 and they still cost $600. Come on.
I want the paint. I want I want the TV that comes in a can painted on the wall.
That
That'd be
will be
something.
beautiful.
Yeah, just you have
Yeah.
a roller, you just roll it on, and it's got all the microchips, micro components built into it, and the nano
Yeah.
technology meshes them together, and pow, it works.
I say we're gonna open a Kickstarter.
You know, we should create a fake ad for this.
What do you
Right?
want? Do you want? Do
Yeah.
you want?
Come up with a can and everything, roll it on the wall. And say, isn't this amazing? You know, and
Spray after.
buy yours today.
Do you want?
Forget a roller, just a spray.
That's,
That's-
Oh,
it's
that's
amazing.
even better. Yeah.
and if the colors aren't too bright, just spray another coat.
You know what you could do that would be really awesome is you have it set up so that you're recording a video and it's a white wall and you spray green on the wall and you have your chroma going in the background. So as you spray it on the wall, the image appears. It's just that easy.
Yeah.
And then you just need to make sure, do you want the 10-year guarantee, the 20-year interior, exterior, which one do you want?
Do you want the
Call technical support.
textured TV or the smooth TV?
What'd you
You
say?
call technical support and you say, there's a spot on the TV. It says, do you still have the can? Can you spray that area again?
And they'll set up a kiosk at all the Sherwin-Williams stores so you can go in and buy it there.
Nick is
Would
sitting
you-
there doing stuff and he's saying, what are these
Would you
guys
trust?
talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I'm over it.
Would you trust buying a VPN that would normally cost $2,800 for
$14.95.
for $19.95 for 5 devices for life?
Yeah, sounds like a talk radio ad.
I saw this morning. Slick VPN,
Slick.
and they're advertising it as a way to get a TikTok-free world. In other words, I don't know what they mean by that. Can you connect to TikTok even though it's not here or whatever reason? But they're saying Slick VPN, $20 for life if you buy now a $2,800 value. That's a
Slick.
deal, huh? How long are they going to be
So-
around? They'll take all that money and then they'll disappear.
The way to check whether a VPN is good or not, I found is the VPN subreddit. They have lists of all of the VPN providers in tiers, because everything eventually works in some sort of somebody is connected to some sort of backplane, and you with VPNs you want to know who has eyes on the VPNs themselves. So I'll search their name in a bit there, and we'll see if they're for real.
VPN.
Who's getting really annoying text messages?
Oh, about election stuff?
No.
Oh,
About USPS drops.
But mostly it's a bunch of gibberish, and then there's a link to something, and the link keeps changing. But I'm in a group of 20 people, 20 phone numbers or text VPN numbers, or I'm sorry, text email addresses that keeps getting these garbage email. And the people that I just delete it. And at first I started to go in and just block all the numbers because I didn't know who was
but that
actually
doesn't
sending
help.
it. And now it's like at the point where I just can't keep up with it anymore. So I'm deleting stuff every day.
Well,
But people are texting back like, you stupid bitch, you need to stop. I'm calling the police. Like people are getting pissed off. And it's like, did you get Verizon, right, Amnon?
yes, and I was
you-
just gonna say,
Did you get that? Did you get that text from them about their service?
yeah, some about 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Yeah, and it hasn't it's doing nothing.
Oh, I beg to differ. I used to get a whole bunch of junk.
Well,
And
still
I
get
said,
it.
wow, it stopped. But then you notice that on the upper left, there is a icon of messages. And I said, well, I don't have any. So I clicked on it, and it shows you all the spam. They put it somewhere. And I went through, I wouldn't say hundreds, but a lot of spam messages in that box, and just I said, well, maybe I shouldn't remove them because that's how they keep them. I have no idea. I just left it. But no, I don't get any. I mean,
Well, you know what?
zero.
In their defense, you have to have the new version of iOS. That's where it's going to be supported. I forgot about that.
I
And you
don't
have
use
to
iOS.
no, but you are your Android. They already have
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
They don't have it for iOS yet. So it's coming. But what they did, it said it was a two-tiered thing. The first thing was that they were going to do something in the background to try to prevent these calls by
Mhm.
recognizing it and automatically deleting it. And the second one was that they would put it into a separate folder or put
now,
it right into the trash.
now, in all honesty, now I don't know that it's just automatic. With messages versus the default one that comes on the Android. Um, if you see one that is in the list that is spam or junk, if you hold your finger on it, you can delete it right there and it will report it as spam. And I did it for a long time. I don't know if that's a result of all this training that I'm not getting any, but I'm telling you, I have not had to do that in a couple of months. And I was
It's to the point now, like I said, it's multiple a day, sometimes 6 or 7.
yeah, that's how
Um, and I just delete them.
it
And I look at the phone numbers, and somebody just took
they
a
spoof 'em.
random list
Yeah,
of
they spoof 'em.
mobile phone numbers, and
Right.
this is the way they can confirm if people text back, take me off your list, and they know they got a good number.
Yeah.
So
Now on the phone, getting those calls, I still get them.
yeah,
I don't get as many, but I mean, I get probably about 3 or 4 a day.
I didn't realize I had so many good friends in Duluth, Minnesota, who were concerned about
But
my well-being.
I guess it's you just have to live with it until somebody comes. I mean, how are they going to do it? I don't see a way to stop texts or phone calls. It's I mean, yeah, with the phone calls it's easier because you can authenticate and see where it's coming from. Is it really from that number?
Well, they're still
Is it
working on that new signaling technology that's
Yeah,
supposed to
so
do a
that's what
handshake, but it's
right.
not out there yet.
It's
I mean,
not there.
I'm not even sure they actually all the working group has agreed to the basic. They've all agreed to the basic functionality of it. So the working group, when I read the working group brief, it actually looked like they were going to do it, but I don't know where it is. But
Yeah,
there's
I
a whole
say
change.
drop.
The whole signaling thing is going to change.
what'd
I
you say
say
again?
drop telephony completely, move to something like Signal, and that's it.
No.
They say that it's just going to take some serious upgrades to the infrastructure, and then you'll have to be it'll be every. It's explained. It was very clever the way they did it. They had an encrypted connection that would do the handshake, but it's going to make things a lot more complicated.
But
For them.
that's the thing. It sounds like we're living in the age of email, and everybody's holding on to fax, right?
You're right.
Telephony, yes, there's this huge switching system, but with IP-based communication, it's no longer required, right? So why are we holding on to this technology still? What's the use? Why
Because
is
we want
this-
to.
It's
Exactly.
my information about switching is dated because I haven't worked around that environment for a long time, but 6 7 years. But at the time, most of the backbone traffic between switches was IP anyway. It's just that it had to be encapsulated and then brought back to SS7, System Signaling 7, when it got to the switch.
Right.
So the problem is that you've got a lot of edge carriers that provide the signaling, and they could be, who knows what some of these communities have. They might have a really old system that can't be upgraded. So I don't know.
No.
That was probably the hardest thing for the working group, is to figure out how to do legacy devices, what do you put in front of it to get it to work?
All right, well, let's switch here. This is interesting. Microsoft is testing a new feature for Windows 10 that will alert you if your SSD drive is failing. Microsoft is also testing an update to your phone, which I didn't understand, that will allow it to work with multiple devices. PC World reports that both features arrive as part of Windows 10 Insider for the dev channel. The dev channel is truly experimental, meaning that these two new features may or may not become official features of the operating system. Fortunately, both are straightforward. An aftermarket SSD may ship with utility software that monitors an NVMe SSD drive's health. But Windows itself does not monitor the drive. In this test feature, Windows 10 will add NVMe's SSD drive to its monitoring processes and let you know if it's about to fail. If you then go into the Windows 10 settings menu for storage, you'll see that the SSD drive in question is listed as unreliable. In that case, you're advised to back up everything.
We got to get Steve, we got to get, what's his name? Steve Gibson to write something in assembler for us. We'll check the hard drive, check the SSD.
I mean, isn't that sort of like what do you call that thing in the BIOS for hard drive?
Smart. I was just going to say, yeah. doesn't a solid state drive respond to smart?
I have no idea, but I know
smart is really about technical aspects of physical motors and heads and stuff that are not
maybe
really
they should expand
relevant to an SSD. So I'm guessing there's no unified standard for it.
So the way Microsoft checks it is they do continuous writes to the drive until it fails, and they tell you it's bad.
Well, it says that the feature is designed to detect hardware abnormalities for NVMe SSDs and notify users with enough time to act.
So there's got to be telemetry there for solid state drives that's just not used by operating systems.
Yeah.
Something on board that does like the how many writes, it depends on the drive, I guess. And they'll do a integrity check and move things, correct? Automatically on the drive.
I
remember looking at the NAND.
They don't get into that, but I mean
standard and how that worked. But it's been a while.
It's interesting that the operating system will notify you. You know that Windows will actually monitor.
It just means
these.
that the operating system just needs some hookup to the driver, right?
Yeah.
To just show that, but yeah,
that'll be nice.
So I mean, Windows today monitors so much about your system.
Right.
If you open Performance Monitor and add counters, right, you start to see that the system is tracking almost any aspect of the operating system operation, and there's a lot into it. In my line of work, when a customer calls and there's some performance issue on the machine they're running our product, right? Then we go in, we run perfmon for a week. We take that, we analyze the data. It requires an understanding of internals and all that, but the system exposes so much about it. And it seems that on this end, there's nothing exposed yet about SSD health. So it is interesting. It is a good move forward.
Yeah.
Has anybody, because we're theoretically well into the end of life in some circumstances for SSDs, right? Based on it's mean time to failure, but it's for server-based SSDs, you probably are at that point where people are changing them out because of.
I mean, from the first generations.
Yeah, from the first generation, sure.
Yeah,
I think
I have never run it. I don't have that much experience working on people's machines, but I have yet to run into a failed SSD.
I have, unfortunately, once. not a business one, but a personal one that died. But I wonder if one of the counters, for example, is some sort of uh, write count, right? Because one of the things that is most important about flash memory is there's a limited
Right.
write count that you can reach, and then you're expecting failure. So
Plus, you eventually run out of surplus locations too to move it to, because the drive is like a 256 drive has like 300 something available to be used for suspect locations,
yeah,
and we'll move it. So yeah, that's interesting. What were the circumstances, Gal, of that drive failing? What did it look
it's
like?
just I think an OS was on it and just couldn't
Couldn't
boot the
boot.
system anymore.
So it was just
Yeah.
instant.
It could be just
instantaneous failure.
just one block that went bad around the boot area or the
Yeah, and that was it.
bootloader, and
Yeah.
yeah, I
Could
have
you
no idea.
reformat it and use it, or that's it? You remember?
I don't remember. It was a while ago. I'm trying to remember if I ended up reusing it or just putting it as a backup drive to the new one that I put in case I'll need to,
Mm-hmm.
pull information. I couldn't because it was readable. The disk itself was readable. I just couldn't boot from it originally. I don't remember the rest. So it's been a while.
It was that stray bit of gamma radiation that came from the sun that had hit that exact spot on your drive and took it out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's a real thing. I mean, isn't it gamma radiation that isn't stopped by anything? I know that there's
I
a
don't
form of
remember.
radiation that goes through everything.
Cosmic rays, I remember, but
Yeah, but it's like you can't stop there's certain radiation you cannot stop. It just goes through you and through the everything. But I remember the astronauts going to the moon once they left the magnetosphere protecting the Earth. They said they would have optical flashes in their eyes because a bit of gamma radiation would go through them and go through their eyeball, and they would actually see a flash. Interesting.
All right. We all like to be on hold, don't we? I mean, this time of year, or well, this year, it's really really bad because of COVID. Not as many people are working, and sometimes you stay on hold for a long time.
I know all about that.
Yeah. So the article goes that in previous years, Google launched call screen to vet your incoming calls, duplex for restaurant reservation, and just this month, a feature called verified calls that will tell you who's calling and why. Last week, Google introduced a feature called Hold for Me, which will make the Google Assistant stay on the line for you when you're placed on hold, then alert you when someone picks up. In the short demo of Hold for Me, Google showed how a Pixel device owner is able to activate the new feature after they've been placed on hold. This is done by tapping a new button that appears on the phone screen above the buttons for muting the call. Turning on speakerphone and the other in-call phone controls. Once activated, you're alerted with a message that says, "Don't hang up," when you're advised that Google Assistant is listening to the call for you, so you can do other things. So you tell Google Assistant, "Hey, stay on hold for me," and because I've got to do other stuff, and it lets you know when it picks up. I mean, that's nice.
Does it alert for the you're waiting for the service provider. Does it alert the service provider? Please stay on hold. The person who's calling you will just join you.
I don't know. That would be rude.
How would that be
would be
rude?
rude.
I don't. I
That
mean,
would be rude.
I'm
I'm waiting 20 minutes for them,
no,
and
if-
they need to wait another
Well,
30 minutes, 30
no,
seconds for me.
when
That
you-
would be rude.
When you're calling somebody, if they're busy,
Oh, we're not talking about people, Am. We're talking about companies. In some cases, you pay these companies hundreds of dollars a month for service.
well, but then maybe in that case, it's.
I mean, you're not
it'll
going to
be
use this
okay,
to
yeah.
call your grandmother. This is going to be when you
Right.
need to call Spectrum or AT&T.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a service issue. And yeah, I agree with Gal. I mean, yeah, it should say, hey, your party's connecting to the other side of the call. I mean, I work in customer service. Sometimes we have to put people on hold. I get it.
Mhm.
But I don't need to sit and listen to crappy, 48 kilohertz music for 45 minutes
Right.
to put the damn call on hold and call it a day.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. And especially in the last month or so, where I had to deal so much with register.com. I mean, I've been using the headset, and sometimes you're on hold for an hour. I go in the
Yeah, that's
kitchen.
ridiculous.
I talk to Kathy, and she sees me with the headset, and she says, "Are you talking to me or are you talking to somebody?" I said, "No, I'm on hold."
Do you know what the default response is for voice response units now? Due to an unusually high call
Yeah,
volume.
yeah.
Yeah,
We're experiencing high. Yeah.
which is
I love this. This was right in the age of Corona, right when it first started. It was Spectrum. It was Spectrum Business, I think. And I called their IVR. Maybe it wasn't Spectrum. I don't know who it was. But the voice response said, due to high call volume, we don't have any representatives available. Please try calling back later. I was like,
That's what the
Jesus.
that's what a lot of the North Carolina offices do. They'll say you'll go through the whole voice response and it'll say, "We're too busy to talk to you now." Click.
Yeah, try again later.
They don't even say that. They just
Yeah.
said we really don't have any resources now to talk to you. Click.
That's nuts.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. The other ones that are driving me crazy are ones that will keep you on hold for about 2 minutes and then say you can leave your number and we'll
Mhm.
call you, or try again later, because they don't want to spend the money, especially when it's an 800 number.
Well, I actually use that service and I would highly recommend it. When they offer the opportunity to do a callback,
Yeah.
you should do that.
It
if you
works.
can.
Yeah.
It
No.
does work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is, and yeah, you're right, Anna. Are they trying to save a couple bucks? Probably. But in
Sure.
the same vein, I'd rather not sit on the damn phone for 40 minutes and just have them call me back when they're ready. I mean,
No, I agree. That's it's fine there, but the thing is that and then you have to dial again if they don't give you a chance to leave your numbers. Everybody's busy. Try again later. I mean, there are some cases. Yeah, I like the thing about leaving a number, and I got used to now that if it gives it to you right off the bat, I do it because I know that I'm going to be on hold. Now, the surprise is when many times you do that and you hang up, and a minute later you get a call.
yeah, that
Nice,
happens. Yeah.
nice, yeah, which is fine. But yeah, now you have your own secretary there, assistant. Well, it is a Google Assistant.
So this only works on Android phones, I presume?
They were showing it on a Pixel. I don't know.
I wonder if it works on Google Voice or if it's just an Android thing.
I would think that it would also work with Google Voice because they're talking about how
I would
would
hope
they
so. That would be neat.
call screen on your. No, that's right. They can Android. Yeah, I don't know. No idea.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've got a quick thing. It's not really it's not really computer related at all, but it does kind of cover some of the stuff that we talk about on this show. So I'm in the need for a I know this is very high tech, Amnon. Hold on to your pants here. One of those storage clipboards that you'd see like a contractor have, one of those metal clipboards with like the, half-inch or inch area where you can store things and it opens up. Everybody's seen what a contractor's clipboard looks like. So of course, I go and check Office Depot and Office Max first. They're office supply stores.
Mhm.
And the ones that they sell are
Wow.
incredibly expensive, upwards of $40 a piece.
And plastic.
Well, no, they sell the metal ones and
They're
and
the
they're fine.
aluminum
So I
ones?
was just about to order one.
Walmart has them cheap.
Walmart sells it for $18.
Yep.
So even in the case of where the office store should, it's my first instinct is to check the office store.
Mhm. Right.
And because their stuff is so damn expensive, lo and behold, I'm going to go to the same place that I buy cold cuts, toilet paper, and
Food.
toothpaste to buy a metal clipboard, because the office supply store, and it's their brand. It's not like it's a third party. The Staples brand and the Office Depot brand were over $30 a piece, and Walmart's got a aluminum storage clipboard for $19.12. How
Now,
are these these stores are retarded? This makes absolutely no sense.
No, it's their cost structure.
But it just doesn't. I just, as a young person, it's surprising that my gut impact is to check those two places, and even checking those two places, I end up going somewhere else. This is literally their name,
Right.
the office store.
And that's why they call it that.
Yes, and I can't. So I'm gonna end up going to Walmart.
Now, the thing is, did you go to the store?
No, I'm looking at it online.
Okay, so you didn't hold the one that they have
It
there.
doesn't. I mean, it's all the same aluminum garbage from China anyway. I mean, they're all the same.
Okay.
It's cheap Chinese. It's cheap. It's cheap aluminum. It's a cheap aluminum.
Yeah,
clipboard.
but you don't need
We've all-
something that is going to withstand dropping from.
No, I just
3
want the
miles
cheapest thing
up.
possible. I'm not.
Yeah.
I've got 1,760 door hangers. I've got to put on doors in my neighborhood for the GOP. I
Yeah.
need something to put my damn sheet in. I'm not going to spend $40 to do it.
You
But
can
it's
get
just-
a good deal on a baby carrier, front-facing baby carrier.
I was going to
Just
buy
stick
a
'em in
wagon, but I decided against the
a
wagon.
little red wagon, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
You
red
could put flags.
red
You
road.
could put flags on it.
Yeah, I got shot. That's very disappointing. Very, very. And even with a Office Depot 20% off coupon,
It's still more, yeah.
it's still $28.70.
Yeah, don't be disappointed. It's
Well,
education.
yeah, but I
it's
should be
education.
disappointed.
It's education.
I can understand certain things, but this is the definition of why these stores exist. Things like this, and they're not even in the same ballpark.
Yeah. And that's
As
also the reason why a lot of them are losing a lot of business. People now have the time to sit down and look at others. And Walmart is doing a good job letting people know that they have this and they have that. It's no longer that place that you say, oh no, that's just cheap stuff that I'm not going to go in there. No. The people got used to the fact that, hey, I find the same thing at Walmart and it's cheaper. When I try to buy something now and I go on Amazon to see it and I see how much it is, I don't buy it right away. I go then to Walmart. In the last few months, I go to Walmart and I price it there also.
There are
And
some items at Walmart, though. I've worked with people that worked with Walmart who were either technical providers or vendors who had to negotiate with Walmart.
Right.
Walmart
Oh,
is
they
probably
suck.
one of the toughest companies to work with because they absolutely get you down to the lowest possible price for anything. So what companies do to supply them is they aren't necessarily giving you, now that's not to say the products aren't good, but the same product in a regular retail store as in Walmart that they ship to them may be different. It may weigh less. There's something about it that they have to strip cost out with.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I buy all my oil and oil filters at Walmart. I buy shoes at Walmart. Yeah, they're not great, but hey, it's cheap. I buy some clothing. I can't buy pants there. They don't make pants that fit me long enough. But I buy shirts. I buy, a lot of stuff at Walmart.
Just very disappointing that
Yeah, it is.
that these office stores just in this case just are not even in the realm of competition with Walmart. It's unexcusable. There's no excuse for it.
If they continue to do some of these alliances that they've done, they're going to be unbeatable.
Oh yeah,
I'm telling you, Walmart is killing all these mom and pop shows, office stores. It's terrible.
well, and it makes
Mom and pop.
sense.
Hey,
but I
that's
mean,
only- last time I saw one of those was probably 40 years ago.
yeah, mom and pop office store.
Yeah.
I really frustrating.
There
Because
was
I
a
want to
shop-
be, I want to be able to put my money where my mouth is, right? And if I can buy it at an office store, which I like to have available, I like to have options. I'm a consumer, I'm a capitalist. I like to have options available to purchase things. And I want to be able to support these businesses if it makes sense. But Jesus,
Nick, you're missing one piece of evolutionary history about these stores. Even when there were mom and pop shops of office supplies, right? These office mega stores, they were never cheaper. They were never cheaper. They were just this very convenient location where you got everything, and large.
I've bought stuff there though that
just,
is. That's the crazy part is I have bought things. Like I bought a 4 terabyte hard drive at Staples or Office Depot a couple months ago, and they had Best Buy beat on price. They had Amazon beat on price. It was great.
Yeah, so they had a sale for a specific
Yeah.
item.
Yeah.
Come on,
That's
that's
I know, but that's what my point is. I am not one of these people that goes to Amazon.com and doesn't matter what the price is. I just it's Amazon, buy it, I'll have it here the next day. I enjoy having the option and the availability in a pinch. And the fact that I'm going to now go to Walmart, who does not have an issue with market share currently, because the product elsewhere is almost $10 more, which in this case is half the price, 50% more. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's retarded. It makes no sense.
Right,
when this is the kind of products that they stock.
You're not really the customer that these office stores are after.
Well, that's fine.
They want offices to be subscribers, right?
Yeah, well, that's going to be great as everybody doesn't go. Yeah, that's going to be great when nobody goes back to the office. So, I mean, props to Office Depot and Staples.
Yeah, that's the little bugger that's getting everybody now is what's going to happen with offices in general. You following the commercial real estate market? What happened in New York now?
Yeah.
The price of apartments has dropped 40%. Commercial properties are sitting there empty. They're trying to bring new buildings online, and it's like there are no takers. Yeah.
I've got a friend here, a very, very good friend of mine that's a commercial real estate guy, and he's a little uneasy about what might be going on here.
Well, some places, I think Raleigh's going to do okay. Because
it's a booming tech market. Yeah,
it's here, and people want to move to a smaller urban environment. They don't want to live in the giant metroplexes. New York had a lot going for it, but basically their leadership stripped away every bit of value that there could possibly be about New York. Now it's like, why? I used to love going to the city. I still would love to go to stay overnight in a hotel and go out to eat and go to a show. It would be great, but why would I go there now? Even just to visit. If I'd go to New York and they'd have to go into a 14-day mandatory quarantine.
I know
I have family there. I can't go see my family.
I figured that's their way of stopping travel. A lot of countries, most countries, if you travel, you have to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. And that's I mean, if you have a 2-week vacation and you want to go touring somewhere, that's it.
Now, will they put you up in the hotel?
No.
For free?
No.
Oh, why not?
They give everybody else free stuff.
Yeah, they give everybody else. They're moving people into hotels for free when they have no place to go. So I just show up there with nothing and say, I'm here to quarantine. Put me up. Give me stuff. All right, guys, I got to go.
I was just going to say.
Hit the road. Have a good week, everybody.
Take care. Have a safe trip.
Oh, thanks. I'll try to listen from the car. So.
All right.
All right. Have a good one. Bye, guys.
Yeah, I mean, if it's nice to support your local businesses because even though it's a chain,
Yeah.
it's people, local people are working there.
Yep.
But I mean, there's a limit.
There is.
Hey, come
And I'll
on, you
tell you what,
guys. Yeah.
and I have done this. I will pay more because I'm not a hypocrite. I mean, I'm really not.
A couple
I
bucks.
will pay a couple bucks
Yeah,
more
yeah.
to support something if I feel if I feel good about it.
Right.
But there's a certain point where I'm not spending 50% more
Right.
so that I can say, oh, look, I bought something at Staples or I bought something at Office Depot. It's just not going to happen.
Right. And no, it makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense.
It sucks. I wish it didn't have to be like this, but it is what it is, I guess.
You think and you hope that maybe somebody is making the right decision, but you can't understand how are they making the right decision? They're not. It's amazing.
I did buy I think it was from Staples. I bought composition notebooks for 25 cents a piece. That's the last thing I bought at Staples.
Yeah, and you cannot buy that at Amazon.
But let me tell you this. I bought 2 of them for
Yeah.
25 cents a piece,
Mhm.
free delivery to my house.
Wow.
So explain to me that.
Yeah. That's
They lost
interesting.
money. They lost money selling me composition notebooks.
Yeah. But by the same token, they made you say something nice about them.
Yeah,
that you
but
would
it
tell
doesn't
other
matter if I
people.
said nice. They literally lost money
Yeah.
with me purchasing those notebooks.
I was I believe I told you guys about the EKG machine that I fixed for my doctor.
No, or
So
maybe you did.
I haven't
it
heard.
what?
I not a
know-
story I know.
The EKG machine started making noise. It's a small desktop machine, like $5,000. So he asked me if I can look at it. I fixed it in the past. I fixed the power supply, and it was hard to find power supply, and I finally found one compatible and just spliced the plug, and it works. So I brought it home, and it was weird. It was first it was making noise, and they said that it never made noise when it fed the paper. It was quiet. So I opened it and I'm looking at the motor, and the motor is spinning, but the motor has another piece on it with gears, and it's a piece of plastic. And apparently the gears inside were worn out. So I told him. I went and looked on eBay. No, first I went and I looked for the part number that I got off the motor and couldn't find anything like it. So I looked on eBay and saw another machine, a used machine. It was, I believe, it was $100, something like that. And I said, hey, it'll be worth it. So I got it, and I tried it. I did not take the motor out or anything. I just tried it, and it was making a little bit of noise, but it was working. It was feeding the paper and everything. So I took it over there, and I said, you need to try it. So she said, okay, take your shirt off, lay down on the bed, and let's try it. And it started working, and midway through the feeding, it started making a loud noise, and the paper stopped feeding. So I realized, okay, it's the motor. Well, came home and looked. There was a place on eBay that repairs them. And I called and I said, I need a motor. Yes, we have them. I said, how much? He said, $95. I said, ouch. But it's worth it for that $5,000 machine. I said, okay. I went and started looking again, Googling it real deep, and finally came up with DigiKey had one that looked just like it. And the number on it, the part number had like numbers and letters on the first part, then dash and some other numbers and letters. The first part was the same. The second part was not. And it was $35. I said, well, it's worth trying. I got it, cut the cable, the wires, soldered them nice, plugged them into the board, put it back beautifully. No sound, no noise, no nothing. Took it back there. He said, oh, yeah, it's like new. I said, okay, great. I went and I ordered another one and fixed the second one. And I said, here, now you can have a spare one. If that guy on eBay, that I'm sure that's, now they had those motors even cheaper from China, but it would take another month to get them. And it wasn't that much cheaper. It was maybe about $10 cheaper. If that guy on eBay, who is local as in the US, wanted to make $20, I would have bought it from him. But he more than doubled the price. And I'm saying, this is ridiculous. Yeah, maybe they're working with doctors, and doctors, here's a $5,000 machine. And I mean, I haven't seen anything in it that could go bad except that little motor. I mean, they're making a killing if people are getting their services. And I'm saying, I could have supported this guy. Instead, I went and supported DigiKey. The price was right. So, I mean, I got it in 3 days. Great experience. Yes, it's not a common item that you can go like Office Depot or Office Max or whatever and find it, or Home Depot. But it's the same situation. Some people are are abusing their ability to purchase these things. They know where to buy it. If I had, and I understand, you keep it on the shelf. I mean, with DigiKey, yeah, they have 60 some in stock. They keep it on the shelf. They have warehouses, blah, 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 blah. Fine. They probably already making $10 or $15 on it. If I bought 5 of them because I knew that I can sell them, I'd sell them. I'd buy it for 35. I'll sell it for 50, 55. But $95. And I don't know on what they were talking about is motor only. So I don't know if he was talking about no gears. The motors are great. They work. It's the gears, plastic gears. And that's all made in China. So yeah, it's the same thing. You try to support your local businesses and local, even in the US, and sometimes it's ridiculous. And no, I'm not going to pay that much. Of course, if I couldn't find it for any other price, I would probably go back to that guy and say, yeah. But at that point, I wouldn't have known that you can get it cheaper, so it wouldn't hurt. And obviously for the doctor, it wouldn't mean anything. So yeah, it was a good experience. And it was nice to see, oh yeah, well, it's fixed. It's working. Arnie, I'm talking about an EKG machine. It's a Burdick Atria 3000.
Oh, I've got a spare one of those in the back room.
A what?
I've got a spare one in the back. She'll let me know.
Yeah. And it's and I told him, I said, here, I fixed the second one. Maybe you can put it in another examination room. and use it. He said, no, I'll just keep it as a spare. It's fine. And yeah, and they sell them on eBay used for 1,000, 1,500, 700. Come on.
I hear it.
Yep. All right. Remember last week we talked about Windows XP source code being leaked?
Yeah.
Well, the Windows XP and Windows Server 2003 source code that was leaked online last week on 4chan has been confirmed to be the authentic after a user compiled the code into working operating system. Shortly after the leak occurred last week, ZDNet reached out to multiple current and former Microsoft software engineers to confirm the validity of the leaked files. At the time, sources told ZDNet that from a summary review, the code appeared to be incomplete. But from the components they analyzed, the code appears to be authentic. So I really think that sooner or later we're going to see XP coming back in a secure way and say, here, you can use it. It'll be interesting to see if what I don't know if Microsoft still has copyright on it.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. But
Yeah, copyright. Yeah, nobody's talking about. They haven't released the copyright on it, so yeah.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting just to see if something like this will hit the market, kind of like, well, not the market, but the internet, so you can download it. And if you are using XP or Windows Server 2003 and you stopped using it because I don't think that Server 2003 is going to make it because that's mainly businesses and they don't fool around. But for end users to have XP running,
It'll be interesting if any security cleans, any security aspects will be raised about current Windows environment based on that source code. I
maybe.
think that's the only real interesting thing, and it will probably eventually help projects like React OS,
Mhm.
and where they're building an alternative to Windows, an open source alternative to Windows to run Windows application. So like an open source version of Windows. Um,
I
sort
don't
of
think
like
anybody is going to be able to do that and put it out. I mean, because of the copyright, though.
right, but I don't know a lot about React OS, but React OS is like this reverse engineered solution built to provide a seemingly identical OS to Windows, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Okay, I see.
l- uh,
Yeah, I see
j-
what you mean.
right. So, um, if there were aspects that they could never solve, right, until now they even if code isn't going to be copied verbatim from the stolen source code, right? These concepts now are going to be solved. Now, is Microsoft going to try and chase and sue whoever uses source code from? That's unclear, right?
Oh, of
I
course they will.
don't think
I
it'll
think.
benefit anyone, not Microsoft and not anyone else. But yeah, it's so the only other aspect I can think of is uh, where Microsoft is worried is where in that source code are hidden problems that turned haven't been exposed yet, right? And how many of these are still prevailing in the current OS that we're using? So that's the aspect that I can think of that might affect reality. That hey, Windows XP source code has been exposed.
No. Nick, did you see what John was saying to look at the courier pouch? In the chat, he says,
Yeah, I mean, I've got one of those, but I need a clipboard specifically.
okay. Let's see. Amazon on Tuesday. This is from last week. Is unveiling a new biometric technology called Amazon One that allows shoppers to pay at stores by placing their palm over a scanning device when they walk in the door or when they check out. The first time they register to use this technology, a customer will scan their palm and insert their payment card at a terminal. After that, they simply pay with their hand. The hand scanning technique isn't just for Amazon's own stores. The company hopes to sell it to other retailers, including competitors. That's that's an interesting concept. And I was thinking, and what happened if you cut your hand, like a scratch or something, or if your hands are dirty, or how
Then
how
you use your card. You always have your card, man.
yeah, but
We're
what?
talking about the convenience thing.
Yeah, I understand. But what if
I-
you put it and you have another scratch on it and it identifies you as somebody else? I mean,
yeah, I don't think that will happen. But my real question is it the palm or is it the palm and a PIN code? Right?
they say palm, and then
That's-
all you have to do.
Yeah,
is
I know.
Yeah,
But that's an important
Good
distinction
point.
because if it's
Yeah.
both, then maybe it's okay. But then again, use the phone
Well,
paying.
you could, right?
Right there, at
Right.
least it's
I mean-
only your phone that sees your fingerprint, right? It's local. It's not something that's sent over the air. They do not collect this biometric data, and they only get the payment information. You have to pass that, right? There's no way around it. But this looks like a much safer, and you already have that in your pocket. I don't know.
I mean, how convenient do you need it to be to pay with a credit card? Jeez,
I use
can't-
Apple Pay.
That's, I mean, would
This
you?
is no different than Apple Pay. This is the exact same thing.
No, it is different. It is very different.
Why?
Because that means that the biometric information,
Oh,
right?
Oh, yes. The way that it goes about doing it is different, but the ease of use factor is almost identical. It's just it's a simple tap and touch.
Well, it's even more, right? You don't need even your phone. But yeah,
I see.
this is a level of convenience that we need to be so suspicious about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's kind of crap they warned us about.
That if you, I agree with you, Gal. If there's a pin going with it, that's one thing, because I can see in the future that some of that information is leaked out.
Yeah,
and it's probably not a picture; it's data that it reads.
Yeah. It's
and how long
it coordinates? It's like
and how long
patch,
before somebody will take some kind of glove and something and be able to print that to do something that when you go in the store and you put it and suddenly hey, here's Bill Gates' hand.
I'll tell you one more thing. It seems to me that this is like the most unfortunate time to release such a technology, with everybody not wanting to touch anything they don't have to.
Yeah, that's true too.
Right?
Good point. No, you have to put a glove on in order to touch anything.
Yeah.
Without getting all high and mighty, this very much seems like a mark of the beast. No.
What do you mean?
Are you guys familiar with the mark of the beast from the Bible?
Yeah, that's the 666.
No, just the mark of the beast.
What is the mark of the beast?
The mark of the beast is a biblical reference to.
You're talking to two non-Christians, right? So you need to be
well, no, it's yeah. I mean, I've heard, but I never.
I know in general, but yeah.
What is it?
The mark of the beast is,
in short,
yeah, it's got the way that the mark of the beast breaks down is it's essentially, so the beast, aka the devil or some
Devil.
sort of
Right.
whatever.
The bad one.
Yeah, somebody bad.
Yeah.
And the mark of the beast is something that differentiates that. And this, yes, and obviously, of course, 666 would be, of course, the number of the beast.
Yeah.
But this would be the mark of the beast. Now, you think mark, you think barcode, or like or an X or a cross or something like that, or a dot. But in this case, you'd look at your literal
John
your
is
literal
saying,
hand. And then John says, yes, you must accept the mark of the beast in order to do commerce. Yes, that plays into it as well. But now, obviously, of course, you can make the same argument about credit cards or credit scores. But in this case, you're talking about your literal, if you're a believer, your literal God-given fingerprint or whatever, fingerprint or palm print, whatever it would be, used to do commerce. That would be mark of the beast.
Okay.
Which is just funny because it's yeah.
All right. Last year, at its accelerated 2019 event in Orlando, Lenovo teased the world's first foldable PC. They did not unveil the name, price tag, or ship date, just that it would be part of Lenovo's flagship ThinkPad X1 line, and that it would arrive by 2020. Last week, the company formally unveiled the device. It's calling it the Thinkpad X1 Fold. So do you want a foldable computer?
Well,
You can
they've already got
you can-
foldables.
You can pre-order it. $2,500.
$500 for a new technology.
I don't know that that's new technology. I mean, they said that it's like two tablets hinged together, and you open it, and you can have a bigger screen. So it's not like foldable,
So it's
like
not the
a
folding
handkerchief.
screen that Samsung tried selling. The folding phones, where the screen itself folds.
No, this is like you have two tablets, or it's a tablet, and it's like divided into two. I would think that if I could take a hinge and just put it on two tablets and be able to
No. It is the folding screen. It's one screen folded into two.
That's not what
That's
I read.
the thing. That's the new technology. That's the hinge itself is built not to break that fold, but it's a plastic membrane. It's probably an OLED membrane, right? That is seamless from top to bottom, and
Okay,
when
so
you
I guess-
fold it, right, it just can be folded. It's a foldable screen. So when you open it, it can become a single screen.
Interesting. That's not. I guess I read
Yeah.
it wrong.
Yeah. So that's the thing about the foldable aspect. So if you'll just go to their, you can use it as with a glass keyboard, right? Like a huge tablet,
Mhm.
or you can just open it and suddenly it's double the screen size. You can work with a Bluetooth keyboard. I think they even supply the remote keyboard with it. So it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
that folding screen technology, it's just so new. Everybody's really focused about the breaking point, right?
Yeah. Of course.
So no, and that's valid. I'm not saying it isn't. It's just I mean, even if the first iterations are going to be bad, it's very interesting the way this is going, because the applications are exciting. They're really exciting about what's possible with this.
Like what?
That's
What's
the thing.
One thing. Tell me
We're
one
all
thing.
trying to think in a very conventional way because we do not start using this daily, right?
Mhm.
So the only things that we can come up with is what the marketing usually shows us. Uh, Having something small, right, that is usable, but then can expand to something bigger. But I think that I think this stuff is actually going to make the traditional tablets eventually obsolete. So this will overtake. I don't think it'll take laptops so much as it'll take over tablets,
Tablet.
and tablets will be more and more like this, and that'll make tablets like something really useful. I found tablets to be um, really, really, really limited because of their form factor. They're very elaborate media devices, mostly. The only places where you see tablets in the workplace, right, are places where it's forced upon its users. Just go to an Apple store, right, where
Right.
every employee there holds an
Yeah.
iPad, and you see that they would have rather been in front of a full-fledged computer. It's usually a handicap, right? It's not something that makes things a lot easier. And I think this hybrid, this tablet that can become a real computer, right, a real workstation, uh, is a very interesting concept. So yeah, new technology. We don't know where it's going to get us yet. So
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
yep.
Which is fine. Let's see what else we have here. That's. I mean, this is kind of just interesting to know. In a study that Pew Research Center released today, last week, 26% of U.S. adults say they now get their news from YouTube. News from YouTube. That includes 23% via videos posted by news organizations and 23% from independent YouTube channels.
How many are getting their news from C2K?
I hope nobody.
I think only me.
News. They surveyed 12,638 U.S. adults for the report. The study finds a news landscape on YouTube in which established news organizations and independent news creators thrive side by side. And consequentially, one where established news organizations no longer have full control over the news Americans watch. The author, that's what the author is saying. The report defines external news organizations as both traditional media like the New York Times, and digital native outlets like BuzzFeed. Independent channels can include celebrities like John Oliver alongside YouTubers, and the 30% who have built their following almost entirely on that platform. There are people that are not out there, they're just on YouTube. I don't know. I mean, you can, in my opinion, you cannot get your news from one source because,
Well, YouTube isn't a single source,
well,
just a platform.
yeah, I know, but when you go to YouTube, yeah, they talking about going to certain channel. Now, if you go and you want to read and get your news, and you know to go to different newspapers, different TV stations, whatever, and just make your own mind, that's one thing. But knowing what we know now, that YouTube does uh, censor and push down
Yeah, but TV
conservatives.
networks do that as well.
The what?
Newspapers do
Yeah,
that as
oh,
well.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Platforms.
You have to go to, go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go to YouTube, go to here, go to there, and read the same thing and see how it goes. I don't care. I mean, I'm saying again, thank you, God. I don't care anymore about the news. I mean, I didn't hear about Trump having the testing positive until Friday night when Nick was saying something. And what? I mean, it was a good Friday. I mean, it's not having to worry about anything. And now, oh
Yeah.
shoot, here's somebody else who's got it that we sort of know. But it's just I don't know. I mean, to hear that 26% of adults, I can understand young guy, teenagers, early teens, I mean, early 20s, because they're used to it.
This is great. This
I-
is this is exactly what we wanted. This is alternative news.
Well, but
This
that's
is
the thing.
independent news. This is independent journalism.
Yeah, but that's my point.
Well, I
is
wouldn't
that-
add journalism to that mix.
Well, I would.
It's entertainment. It's
No,
not
that-
journalism.
Most
Most of the time, it's entertainment.
I think that's a
No,
ridiculously broad
but
thing
wait
to
a
paint
second,
with.
Gal.
There's
That
plenty of actual journalism
Yeah.
taking place.
There
on YouTube.
is,
Yeah.
but most of
Most of
the content is just entertainment,
and that's
and
what
that needs to be a very, very clear distinction.
they can.
Well, I mean, okay, if that needs to be a very clear distinction, then they should put a big old disclaimer when you tune into any news channels on your cable system and say,
I
hey,
agree.
this
I
is
would agree.
entertainment horse shit, and it's not actual news. They should put a huge,
I
big
would
old
agree.
disclaimer
That
across
is,
the screen.
but that's my point exactly. Everything in the news industry is entertainment. It's not journalism. Everything.
right,
90%.
it's all
Okay,
because of
most of it.
ratings. So obviously, yeah.
No, I think that number is great. That 26% is
But-
fantastic.
but
that means
again-
people are watching, and it's accurate to say that a lot of that content that is being watched on YouTube is opposite content that you're seeing on actual mainstream news, because you wouldn't. I mean, it's the same reason that there's no liberal talk radio, because there's no market for it. And it's the same thing with YouTube, I would presume.
But
Majority of your content you're going to find on there is swayed toward one side of the political aisle, because all of the other content on actual news is one way. So that's a great survey.
But again, this is also one way. If you only watch it there,
Yeah, but again, you say only watch it there like it's one channel. That's like saying you only get your news from
Yeah.
from Spectrum. Yeah, well,
It's
Spectrum has
different,
CNBC,
right.
has MSNBC and Fox News, so that doesn't make any sense.
and
It's like saying you get your news from cable. Okay,
all right. So when
What does that mean?
So do you really think that when people go on YouTube to get the news, that they flip channels?
when you
and-
say get the news, you are looking at a very old, antiquated way of news, Amnon. You don't flip the channels on YouTube. You subscribe to channels
Right.
you want to see, and you watch their content.
right,
I would assume most people are subscribed to more than one channel.
that's
And if
where,
they're saying they get their news off of YouTube, I would read into that and presume that they are subscribed to at least 2 or 3 channels.
okay, all right, I'll
Again,
buy that.
I
I'll
don't have
buy
any
that.
way to prove that, but
Yeah.
I can't imagine you would say in a survey, yes, I get my news off YouTube,
I
and
I
you're
would-
only subscribed to Mark Dice.
I would hope that that's how it works.
And if it's not, then fine. More power to you.
Yeah.
That's the great part about YouTube. You don't have to watch anything else. You want to watch just Mark Dice, or you can. Great.
Oh yeah. If in that case, then it's okay with me. I mean, I can understand that. I just can't understand going to certain channel and okay, I'm getting it from whoever. But no, I'll if you think if that's the way it works, yeah, you subscribe. I don't subscribe to any of those, so I don't think that way. You do, so I'll
I
take what
watch-
you're saying.
I watch nearly all of my content on YouTube. Not just news. Actually, I don't really watch that much political stuff on YouTube. I read and listen more of that. But content, I watch a vast majority of it on YouTube. Probably upwards of 95%.
Okay, well, that then I stand corrected. Now you guys are in support. Something happened last week. Microsoft appeared to have botched an internal Office 365 cloud services rollout last week, with outages confirmed up and down the west coast of North America. Confirmed rollbacks were good early omens, but it, in the end, did not appear to be successful. Symptoms may include all 365 related services flaking out, borking, alternately approving logins and confirming they definitely do not exist. Now, CRN reported service was impacted for 5 hours. But on Thursday, some users were now intermittently unable to access Microsoft Exchange from 12:52 until a.m. until 10:50 p.m., according to a Microsoft email update to Office 365 administrators. Did you see any of that on Monday,
I
last Monday,
saw.
or last Thursday?
I mean, I know my our IT department was dealing with that, but I didn't experience it personally.
Okay, so it's
They sent out a notice, but I didn't experience anything. And by the time, um, after a few hours, they sent everything is solved. So I know they were dealing with it. I just haven't experienced the specifics.
The good news is on the East Coast, it didn't happen until about 6 o'clock. Now, obviously, on the West Coast, that's the end of their business day. But for me, it was resolved by like 8 or 9 p.m. So no issues here. I mean, there were issues, but they weren't.
so I guess Microsoft fixed the update or they still just rolled back and they're not
Yeah, they said they rolled it back.
interesting.
Well,
And last week also, Apple has added the 7th generation iPod Nano to its list of vintage and obsolete products, officially designating the last iPod in the iconic Nano lineup as vintage. This is from MacRumors. The vintage products list features devices that have not been updated for more than 5 years and less than 7 years. After products pass the 7-year mark, they are considered obsolete. Apple debuted a refreshed version of the 7th generation iPod Nano in mid 15, and that was the final iPod Nano that Apple came out with. Now that the device is 5 years old, it is being added to the vintage list. I mean, that doesn't mean that it's not working anymore. That doesn't mean that you take it and you throw it in the trash. I guess it means you don't
I
get
mean,
updates.
it costs even more now.
It costs more, yeah. But you probably will not get any updates for it.
Yeah.
Vintage is good. Vintage is good stuff.
Now it's going to be seen in New York Starbucks next to typewriters.
And what else? Again, last week, Microsoft unveiled the Surface Laptop Go with a 12.4-inch touchscreen for $549. Its cheapest and lightest, 2.45 pounds. The company also updated the Surface Pro X or 10 with SQ2, Microsoft's second generation custom ARM chip co-engineered with Qualcomm for $1,500. Both are available for pre-order today and ship on October 13th. So you can get a Surface a Surface Laptop Go for $549.
Now,
They don't say what's in it. Yeah, now.
I don't know if you saw this though, in related to that Office 365 issue.
Yeah.
There was also a 911 outage across the country around the same time.
Is that because they're running on Office 365?
Well, no, it could be that they're using Azure.
Oh.
Now there's a couple good things here. The FCC will do an investigation into what happened with the 911 outage. Because thus far, mum's been the word. Now, obviously, it seems pretty likely that there was a big Office, big Microsoft outage, and then lo and behold, 911 has a huge outage. But yeah, there was police departments all across the U.S. That were having 911 issues, and they only lasted about an hour and a half or so. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the FCC does. And
919, please hold.
they'll go right after Microsoft if that's the case.
Yeah, I bet they will.
That's very serious.
Wow.
I don't know if they'll go about after Microsoft. Think about it. Microsoft is a service provider, all right? And a service like 911, making use only of one external service provider to provide some sort of service, that's on 911. That's not on Microsoft.
Well, yeah, but 911 is a very highly regulated industry.
I know.
So I all I know is in the past that they have assessed there was a big 911 outage last year, and it was due to a CenturyLink outage on the West Coast, and the FCC raked CenturyLink over the coals about it. Now, obviously, they're not going to do anything crazy to Microsoft, but they published a lot of what CenturyLink did wrong, some bad practices that CenturyLink was doing that allowed this to go undetected for so long. So yeah, I mean, if in fact they go through with this big post-mortem of of 911, it'll be interesting to see what they find out from Microsoft.
Okay.
That's also why you should have your police stations, your police department's number on hand.
That's why you should defund them.
I mean, there you go.
Amnon, what are you bringing politics into this, man?
911, please hold. Oh, it is political. Yeah, there it goes.
It is?
Yeah, look at Nick's hat.
I'm trying to eat. Why do you keep putting the camera on me?
I know, but you talked.
No, I didn't.
Stop talking.
Oh. All right. So we talked about it last week, and here goes again. Facebook will ban ads that wrongly claim victory in the U.S. presidential race. The news comes a week after the company announced it would reject ads from Donald Trump and Joe Biden claiming a premature win on November 3rd. The policy covers ads that claim legal forms of voting, like voting by mail, will corrupt the outcome of the elections. It also bans ads that claim rampant voter fraud could alter the results of the election. This is a real concern for the 2020 due to mail-in voting and all that. We're coming to the end. We can talk a little politics, but there was a video that showed. What's the name of that? These guys that go behind, go to undercover Nick
Oh, Project Veritas.
Veritas.
Yeah.
Where they were showing this guy in, I think it was Minneapolis,
Yes.
um, riding around, and he had a whole bunch of ballots in his car. And they were talking, and he was actually bragging about how they commit voter fraud. Now, again, they're talking about 500, 1,000, whatever. That is unlikely to affect national elections, but it could affect local elections.
What what I find quite crazy about this story,
Yeah,
is that there is now documented proof
yeah,
of voter fraud,
right.
and they're saying that having an ad pointing out that there's voter fraud is going to be ripped off the platform. I
Right.
mean,
Right. You see,
it's like the emperor's got no clothes. I'm being serious. I mean,
yeah,
there has been we're 30 days out from the election still, and there's already been multiple documented cases of voter fraud. One so extreme in either Wisconsin or Michigan or some state like that, so extreme that the U.S. Attorney General has opened an investigation into it. I'll tell you what, man. Facebook. I don't know what's going to happen with the election this year, but Facebook Facebook needs to be
Overhauled.
this is ridiculous, absolutely
Yeah.
ridiculous. There is documented proof of voter fraud,
Right.
and pointing it out is going to get you banned off the platform.
Yep.
Or excuse me, it's going to get your ads taken away. That's insane to me.
Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But it's an interesting.
It's very scary, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's complete and total control by the left.
Yeah. Amazon appears to be making good on its effort to keep tightening privacy for its Alexa-powered devices, even after the hot button issue has cooled down this year. The most notable change is a new option to automatically delete your voice recordings immediately after they are processed by Alexa. A written transcript of these recordings will still be available for 30 days, but can be deleted anytime you want. This feature, which is available starting last Thursday, builds on Amazon's other auto delete functions, which let a customer delete their voice recording on a rolling 3-month or 18-month basis. Both those options were announced at Amazon's launch event last year. Now, I did not get any notice from Amazon about this. Keep up with Alexa, but nothing about this.
Where do you want to get the update?
What do
I
you-
have, I don't know about you, but anything that has to do with email messages,
No,
right?
oh, yeah, it's email messages. Yeah.
right? So I unsubscribed from anything about Amazon services except the delivery.
Okay,
So,
I get that. Keep up with Alexa. What's new with Alexa? And it's interesting to read there, but there was nothing about this. So apparently, you have to go and find out how to do it. And they're saying that it can be deleted immediately after they are processed. What's that going to do? I mean, there are things a lot more privacy sensitive than Alexa lights on, something like that. I guess some people use it in
yeah,
a
but that's the only metadata that Amazon has about you. And the whole concern was that They have, I mean, everybody's concerned about unlawful surveillance, right?
Right.
That's the usual talk about this. So this just shows, right? These are the logs that we have. That was the first step, and here's a button to delete the logs that we have. That was the second step, and now is unless you want us to, we won't keep those. Don't see a problem. I don't know.
No, there's no problem with that. It's good.
I never was concerned in the first place. I don't know why others are, but yeah.
That's also a good point, because there's, what are you going to do? You know, this is, you bought an Echo. You give up your privacy anyway, and if you don't
Yeah,
think so, then you need to know that. But you know, at least tell people how to do it.
Well, I'm guessing that especially when they roll these features out, uh, once you have a new machine, you go through the videos, tutorials. It'll be there
It may,
eventually.
yeah,
But yeah,
possibly. We'll have to wait and see. All right. What else? I wanna add something about Plex. I I was talking about it a few weeks ago, about the fact that it can delete commercials.
yeah.
I had to reverse that, because it was, in many cases, it was cutting off the end of the show. But yesterday, Kathy was sitting there and watching uh, Jeopardy from like 2, 3 days ago, and it'll have a commercial, and then boom, right away, you could see that it was abrupt. Got right into the next segment, and I'm watching, and another commercial comes, and it started, and it
Skipped it.
it skipped it, and I went and checked, and it's not set up to skip or to delete commercials.
Hmm.
So it's interesting, but it wasn't cutting the end of the show or anything. It was actually pretty nice. The only thing that it did not cut off was political ads. All these were still showing. So I don't know if
Yeah, there might be a regulation behind that.
I don't know, but Gal, is there a new version? If there's a new version of Plex, will it update it automatically?
No, you need
Okay.
to restart the server for it to update. So once you restart, it'll update.
Okay, well, yeah, I did. I mean, there was a couple of times where that thing popped up. It says there's a software update for this.
Yeah.
And you do it, and then it restarts.
No. So you need to restart the container in order for it to update.
I mean, the machine restarted, like rebooted. Yeah. I mean, I would watch it, and you see the Ubuntu thing. At the
on
bottom
Ubuntu.
spinning.
Yeah. Don't worry about those.
Well, I mean, is that not what? Do I need to actually shut down the machine and start it again in order?
No. What I'm saying, don't worry about those updates.
Don't do them
from the UI. From the UI, don't activate those updates. The reason
Oh.
is I'm updating it in the back end when needed.
Oh, okay.
So,
I didn't know. I
yeah.
mean, you see it and you say, well, yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. The other funny thing is, started watching a series that had Hebrew subtitles,
Okay.
and they are way out of whack.
Well, that's because there's a lot of versions of the recording. The real question is, if you're
the
watching your live recording of it, then it'll be
no.
out of whack because whatever you're recording is different than the version the subtitles was written to, which is either a DVD or some sort of web download, right?
The out of whack thing was not that they were out of sync, kind of. It was when you know the language, both languages. I
Oh
mean, come
yeah,
on,
there's a
there's
lot.
male and female. Don't tell the woman.
Yeah, that's because there's a so the way I'll explain. That's actually I don't know how interesting it is for others, but so Hebrew. I mean, the amount of Hebrew watchers in the world,
Yeah,
right, is 0.00
right.
something percent,
Yeah,
right? It's
right.
very small. So the amount of content that actually gets properly produced, I mean, just about subtitles,
Yeah.
right, is very, very, very limited. And so you will probably get some Hebrew content for very mainstream stuff, but most of it, it's way down there. So what happens is Hebrew translation for Hebrew subtitles works in iterations. If there's a very popular show, then the group, whoever, or the pirate groups, whoever grabs something, right? What they'll do is usually English subtitles are available because they're produced for even if for an American speaking show, right? With English speaking show, you get um, uh, for hearing impaired,
Yeah.
you get subtitles, and so those are just passed through an automatic translation like Google Translate,
Right.
right? And are dumped. So you get all of the time syncing and all of that. You get a skeleton of the translation already there.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's bad. It's a machine translated.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
a human being who knows the language. And so I know what you mean.
it
That's
was
why
just
a
funny,
lot of new stuff I just watch with English subtitles, just so I can lower the volume.
Uh, Gal Allen was asking if you have time for a VPN question. I told him to go for it. I don't see it yet. Um, guys, I mean,
And
you can
yeah,
always call in 919-518-9773 instead of asking in the chat, and maybe we don't see it right away. But
ask away.
ask
I
away.
hope
I
I'll
told
be
them.
able to answer.
But no, I mean it was just funny because I would sit there and I would laugh. I mean, you can't help but read it. And Kathy said, "What? What?" I said, "Nah, it's just."
Lost in translation. It
uh,
reminds me there's I think the site actually still exists. I'll find it later. It was called um, uh, Google Translate Boomerang. And so you would choose two
oh,
languages. You would
and
choose a language,
you go
right?
back and
And
forth,
you would
kind of
write the text in English. It'll send it to
send it
Google translate it, and then translate it back,
back
and you'll
and
see the
forget it.
English.
Yeah.
That
Nick, do you remember
was
that
always
that
hilarious.
program that you tried it a couple of times that would put the subtitles,
Yes.
and it was great.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But it was, I mean, it was unbelievably correct.
That was a long time. That was probably
Yeah.
that was almost 2 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
Alan, we're waiting.
We'll get to it next week.
Yeah.
It's a software, an app. I remember now.
It's
Posted it in the chat. Google Translator Boomerang, like a small PC software you run.
there is this question, Cal.
If I ran a VPN configuration on Mac Mini and have whatever is connected to the Ethernet, use the VPN.
In his case, the Roku.
So if you want a Roku to pass through that VPN, you need that VPN to be configured. You need that VPN to be your router or your gateway. Sorry, right? You need your VPN to be your gateway, and that needs to be the default gateway of the Roku's network setting. So if your Roku gets its IP over Wi-Fi over DHCP, you need to switch to a manually assigned IP and have the gateway pointing to the VPN machine. But the
the Mac
VPN
Mini.
machine needs to act, right? Needs to act as a router because it's going to get incoming traffic and outgoing traffic. It usually will be a different subnet that you will provide it, and you'll connect it that way. One other alternative would be installing on that Mac Mini some sort of
Okay, are you reading his?
yeah, works fine if I set up the same config on an old Mac. It does not work. So you're comparing something that worked on the Mac Mini and doesn't work on the old MacBook. I'm not sure what the question is.
Yeah, Alan, are you saying that it works on maybe on a PC and not on the Mac, or is it like Gal asked the difference between Mac Mini and MacBook?
Run a VPN configuration on a Mac Mini and have whatever Roku Ethernet used. Works fine. If I set up the same config on an old MacBook, it does not work.
Alrighty, guys, I got to run.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Nick.
I'm
I'll,
not sure because I do not have the privilege of seeing the different configuration, but I'm guessing you're describing a situation where the Roku passes through the VPN and your old MacBook does not. And the question is, how are they getting their IP data? Right? If it's from DHCP, then the DHCP needs to serve it correctly. If that VPN machine provides a DHCP to whoever's connected to it, then that needs to be examined. Now, if you're using a single Ethernet port on your Mac Mini, then you need some DHCP will probably won't work because you do not want to. You will want to isolate everything via IP subnetworks, right? So I hope what I'm saying is helpful. But when you're talking about routing traffic through VPN on a network on Ethernet, and it's not like something manually configured where you point to a single point, then you start. You need to create an isolation between the third layer, which is IP, and the MAC layer, which is the second layer, right? So MAC here is a machine address.
And it's not a big deal to assign a static IP. I mean, it's
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 not.
very simple. As a matter of fact, all the machines in my network are static. I don't choose DHCP except if somebody comes in. All the computers are
No, I actually use DHCP, but I assign them static IPs through DHCP. And the reason I do that is just easier control over things. This is the way to identify if there's something foreign in the network. There's an IP that I haven't assigned. running over the only from the DHCP, it's easy to identify.
All right. Well, maybe we'll pick it up next week when there'll be more maybe Spence, and I know Spence used a Mac. I don't know. Gal, did you use?
I don't think it has to do with the fact that it's a Mac or not. Do with it. Networking is networking. It doesn't matter what you.
Single Ethernet port on either. Then it'll only work for one. I don't know. I'm not.
No, it's connected to a hub, but
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Anything else, Gal? All right. Well, thanks, Gal. And thanks, Nick and Spence. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Dana, Dina, Arlet, and Micha. Thank you for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, tonight at 7, Nick hosts Against the Norm at atnshow.com. And if you're in Wilmington, you can listen to him on 106.7 FM, Wilmington, Big Talker. See you next week, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.